Time to talk about the latest football recruiting commitments. In the next couple of days, there are some big decisions that are going to help decide who ends up in the college football recruiting rankings top 10.
Locked On presents The Portal, the daily podcast covering college football recruiting and everything NIL. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome back into the Portal Podcast, where you get your daily recruiting, NIL, and transfer portal scoop. I'm Brian Smith, longtime college football recruiting analyst. Thank you for making the Portal Podcast your first listen each and every day. We've got a lot of commitments to discuss, try to catch up on some of that, and also the commitment dates, so let's not waste any time. Freddie Wilson surprised me a little bit. Spruce Creek High School in Port Orange, just outside of Daytona. He's headed to Georgia Tech. I thought maybe that would be Miami. I wouldn't be surprised if Miami came back around on that one. We'll see, but that's a big one. Braden Robinson was the third commitment for Notre Dame. That was the end of this past weekend. They got three receivers, Caden Finley, Devin Fitzgerald, Braden Robinson. We're going to talk about Notre Dame again here in just a little bit. Elijah Satchel out of Eastside High School in Camden, New Jersey, defensive lineman, 230 pounds. He is going to NC State. We've got Virginia with Jaden Koval, Oscar Smith High School in Chesapeake, Virginia. That's a program that always has guys. The Virginia Cavaliers tap in, 5'10", 160 pounds. He's a corner. We've got some really good news for Kentucky. They got Matt Ponatowski. Now, can they keep him? I don't know. Quarterback, 6'1", 195 pounds. He has a cannon out of Archbishop Moeller in Ohio. That's an Elite 11 quarterback. But does he go baseball?'ll see, but a really good commitment for Kentucky. Wake Forest gets Kobe Adelke Hoax. That is from Peachtree Ridge, just outside of Atlanta. Wide receiver, 5'11", 175 pounds. Ole Miss gets one of the most underrated guys in the country, and he's a kid from Southern Indiana, just outside of Evansville. Jet Goldsberry out of Heritage Hills High School. That is a guy that can play safety. He can play receiver. He can play nickel, a lot of different spots. He's a really good athlete. For Louisville, they've got a player that I think is a little bit underrated. I watched his film today. Jaden McGregory. He's out of Valley High School in West Des Moines, Iowa. That is a really long athletic safety. He could probably play some corner depending on the scheme. 6'2", 195 pounds. Louisville goes into the state of Iowa and gets a really good player. Malik Morris commits to the Florida Gators, linebacker out of Lakeland High School, one of the most famed programs in the Sunshine State, the Dreadnoughts. 6'1", he's over 250. I don't know if he's going to stick at linebacker or not, or he's going to move his hand in the dirt, but he can play some football. I've seen him for a couple of years. Messiah Jackson out of Lee County High School in Georgia. Stanford dips into the Peach State to get a really good player. He could have went to a bunch of SEC, Big Ten schools, ACC schools. Jackson goes all the way out to Palo Alto to play for Stanford. Denry Hamilton, he's going to Army. How about that? Morton Ranch on the edge of Houston, safety, 6'3", 170. Congrats to Army. Colorado gets Xavier Payne, the former Florida State commitment, plays at Edison High School in Miami, Florida. He's an offensive lineman. Tyler Ruxin out of Heritage Hills. He's another kid out of Southern Indiana, tight end, 6'4", 220 pounds. He's going Boomer Sooner. We've got Braxton Winsley. He's a kid going to BYU. They got three commits on this list. Linebacker, 6'2", 230 pounds. Give BYU some credit here. They also get Nehemiah Cologne out of Stillwater, Oklahoma, defensive lineman, 6'4", 255 pounds. And Jackson Gates, a corner, 6'1", 170 pounds, out of Damien High School, just outside of Los Angeles. So BYU certainly making themselves known. Noriel Dominguez out of Randall High School in Richmond, Texas, on the edge of Houston, 6'2", 225. That's a linebacker. He will be a Horned Frog. We also have Tennessee with Javonte Smith. They got multiple commits as well. At a Northside High School in Jackson, Tennessee, that's the west part of the state, 6 foot, 170 pounds. Give the Vols credit because they also got Joel Cumbe, safety, 6'1", 190 pounds, out of Kell High School, just outside of Atlanta. Now, Oregon, they didn't mess around. Here in the last few days, they've gotten a lot of size and a lot of speed, which kind of fits what the Ducks do. Let's start with the speed. They got Jalen Lott, one of my favorite players in this class. I just don't know what position he's going to play. 200 pounds, give or take, maybe just under, but he can fly. And his balance after contact is elite. The question is it going to be on safety or on the receiver side that he plays? We'll see, but he is an elite player. They also got Devin Jackson, out of First Academy in Orlando, Florida. That's a young man that I've seen play, and I don't know if I would want to play more at nickel or at the back end of the defense, maybe box safety, but he is versatile. Oregon has just loaded up on big DBs in the last couple classes, including this one. Jackson is good. And speaking of loading up, this is the size. I don't know if you're going to get any better than this in terms of getting three guys. Colo Kelly, about 300 pounds. He's the small guy. He's 6'3" or so. He's from Hawaii. They also get Emmanuel Hahinacho. He's a kid out of the Baltimore area. And they also get Tommy Topi out of San Francisco. Topi's 330, and Emmanuel is 350 pounds. The Ducks make their move, and they still have several guys left. I'm going to make a prediction right now. Oregon will flip at least two more really good players. Topi was originally committed to Cal, and the Ducks will finish in the top 10. Dan Lanning and his staff do a tremendous job. Air Force gets a couple commitments. Jackson Paul out of Howell High School in Michigan, defensive lineman, and they also get Levi Grigson out of Hill Murray School in Minnesota. He is a safety. Washington gets one of the best players in the country, period, in Brian Bonner out of Valencia, California. They beat out UCLA for one of the best running backs, not only this year, but in the last couple in terms of just being a home run hitter. If you do not do a good job with the run gap fit, he will score. Adam Balagoon Ali, he is a linebacker out of Cardinal Newman down in South Florida, 6'2", 205 pounds. He's one of the smartest kids I've seen the last couple of years. Expect him to play early for the Auburn Tigers. Braden Rouse, linebacker, 6'2.5", 220 pounds out of Cal High School. He will be a Tennessee ball as well. NC State got Aiden Smalls out of Clayton High School in North Carolina, 6 foot, 175 pounds. He stays in state. Josiah Zayas, St. Thomas Aquinas in New Jersey. Not the one in South Florida, but the one in New Jersey. 6'2", 190. He's going all the way out to Ames, Iowa to play for Iowa State. Carnell Warren out of Bluffton, South Carolina. Wide receiver, 6'4.5", 195. He will play for the Tar Heels. We also have Auburn getting Travis Wakefield, the long snapper out of Lipscomb Academy in Nashville, Tennessee. Army with another one in Zach Manning out of Prosper, Texas, an edge player, 6'3", 240 pounds. And Syracuse gets Roseby Luminous. He's a flip from Penn State. How about that? You're talking about Syracuse flipping a Penn State guy, big offensive lineman, 350 pounds out of Timber Creek in New Jersey. Now I want to talk a little bit more on the broad side of things here next. Discuss what's really going on with some of the teams pushing for the top 10, some of the kids that are getting ready to commit. That is here next on the Portal Podcast. Summer sports are in full swing, and whether you're all about baseball under the lights, golf on the green, or high-stakes soccer action, FanDuel is the best way to make every game even more exciting. You're already following the action. Why not make it a little bit better with FanDuel? You can get into the game with your friends and without going to the beach and getting sunburnt like they are. With FanDuel, you can track all kinds of things, all the different matchups, player profiles, maybe some player props. Do it during the game to make it more exciting on FanDuel. If you're new to FanDuel, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet is a winner. Open the FanDuel app or visit FanDuel.com and get started today. All right, thank you once again for making the Portal Podcast your first listen each and every day here on the Locked On Podcast Network. There's going to be a lot of news about commitments on Friday and Saturday, and that's what I want to talk about next, because these aren't just commitments that are important. They're not only going to help a few teams get better, but this is going to be some players that are going to help dictate who ends up in the top 10 of the final rankings. Kaiden Prothro is going to make a decision. We got Lamar Brown is going to make a decision. It's important. And today, Lamar Brown is going to make his decision right after I publish this, and good for him. I don't know if he's going to LSU. I don't know if he's going to Miami. I don't know if he's going to A&M. I've heard too many rumors. Great kid. I wish him all the best out of Baton Rouge. Excuse me. University Lab High School. Could play O-line or D-line. He wants to play defense. Tremendous prospect. Good luck to Lamar. But if he ends up at LSU, if he ends up at A&M, those classes could end up in the top 5 with Lamar in their class. That is a big-time deal. Amir Clark out of Osceola High School in Kissimmee. He's going to be making his decision as well. That's a kid's kind of a late bloomer. We'll see where he goes. Florida kids, man, They make a lot of late decisions. I'm not surprised by that one. Marcus Almada out of Tabor Academy in Massachusetts. He's going to make his decision today. We've got Jamarian Carlton, the kid out of Temple, Texas, one of the best defensive linemen in the country, Texas, and several other programs. Samari Matthews, the corner out of North Carolina. I think it's going to be Texas. We'll see. South Carolina, Florida State, and several other programs. They've done a good job of staying in that recruitment. Notre Dame has got a pretty good shot at Nick Reddish, but will he go and follow his two brothers who played at Virginia Tech? That decision's on the 11th. In Florida State, I want to talk about a couple of kids for them. They're tracking, although there is no date, they're tracking maybe the most important guy left on their board. Potentially, I guess it depends on your perspective because they're still in on several guys, but maybe the most important guy left is Wilson Zierer. Georgia, Alabama, Auburn, several other schools want him, and he's an offensive tackle. That's the position that Florida State has missed more often than not in the last 10 years. They haven't had an elite class in a very long time. Shout out to Norvell and his staff. They've had a much better class. They've got a couple of kids on the offensive line in this recruiting class that are really good. One, Ionata, who's I think pretty underrated and can play tackle. If they get Zierer too, Florida State's got a chance to move into the top 10. You could not have convinced me of that before this year. And also Landon Myrie, a kid out of Princeton High School in Cincinnati. They got a pretty good shot with him. He could play defense, but most likely I think he's going to play tight end. That's a kid that Florida State really needs to land because they need to balance out their tight end position. They've got Landon Thomas, who's probably going to be a 3-and-out guy as their starter, but they need to build some depth. That's a really important recruitment. We've got some other kids too, but the one I want to talk about the most, because I think this is the trend in college football. Kids are making more of their own decisions and going their own way now. Jordan Clay out of Madison High School in San Antonio. I love his film. Elite athlete, top 100 by 24/7 and several other publications. He could end up at Baylor. That's really good for them, but if he goes to somebody else like Oklahoma, they need some recruiting momentum. They've got a pretty good class, but it's not where it needs to be. Oklahoma really needs to add him. That's a really big recruitment. And if Oklahoma can get him, maybe they get rolling and maybe they make a run at being in the top 10. We also have to look at KJ Ford. This is another kid. I don't know where he's going. Kid out of Duncanville, defensive lineman, 6'3", 250 pounds, give or take. Athletic, long, explosive. He had one of the best reps I saw this year at Rivals. 5-star elite prospect. Bama and a whole bunch of other college football programs are after him. If he ends up at Bama, that could really give them a shot to finish in the top 3. I'm pretty sure they're going to get Anthony Tank Jones. If they get him and Ford, that would be an incredible combination on the defensive line. Heze Kent out of Brunswick, Georgia, Florida State, Texas, several other programs have been involved. Miami at one point, the big tight end is going to be making his decision coming up on the 12th. And so is Tyreek Green, a kid that could end up at Miami. That's another team right there on the fringe. He makes his decision on July 12th. And I already mentioned Kaiden Prothro. Like, that is a kid that is just a superstar. He's out of Bowden, Georgia. Love that family and that program. They do a great job. They've won 3 consecutive state titles, and I think they will probably win another. One of the main reasons is Kaiden is your guy. On offense, defense, anything he does, he's tremendous. I think he will pick Georgia, but we'll see. And if the Dogs do get Prothro, pretty good chance they end up with the top class. He's a 5-star flex tight end. Thank you once again for making the Portal Podcast your first listen each and every day. Truly appreciate it. We will see you again soon. Please like and subscribe. We will see you tomorrow on the Portal Podcast.